An extraordinarily rare and extremely significant archaeological discovery has been unearthed in Jerusalem.
The Temple Mount in Jerusalem has never been excavated, but an illegal construction project 20 years ago opened the door to some major discoveries.
In 2024, an unauthorized scan beneath Jerusalem's Temple Mount uncovered a sealed object hidden for nearly 3,000 years. Within days, the discovery was restricted. Researchers were warned not to continue translating the text found inside.
We have uncovered one of the most meaningful items that is a witness to one of the most dramatic events in the history of Jewish people.
Because, according to leaked reports, the inscription carried a message meant for whoever uncovered it. Do not open. What investigators discovered beneath the Temple Mount would soon challenge history, religion, and the reason the chamber may have been sealed in the first place. Buried beneath one of the holiest places on Earth was a hidden underground chamber untouched since the ancient world. Inside the chamber sat a small lead capsule, and inside the capsule was a scroll. At first, experts assumed it was nothing more than a forgotten religious text. But the deeper researchers investigated, the stranger the discovery became. Hidden chambers, a sealed shrine, ancient rituals, and growing evidence that the scroll was never meant to preserve history, but to keep something buried. The hidden chambers below the Temple Mount. The discovery began with unusual radar patterns beneath the Temple Mount. Researchers using AI-enhanced ground-penetrating radar detected straight lines, perfect symmetry, and sealed voids buried deep beneath Jerusalem's bedrock. The formations were too precise to be natural. For more than 3,000 years, the Temple Mount has been one of the most sacred and politically dangerous places on Earth. Jews believe it was the site of Solomon's Temple and the Second Temple. Muslims revere it as Haram al-Sharif, connected to the Prophet Muhammad's night journey. Even minor excavation near the site has triggered violence before. In 1996, tunnel construction near the mount led to riots that killed more than 70 people across Jerusalem and the West Bank. That history made the scans extremely sensitive from the beginning. But between 2021 and 2024, researchers found a way to investigate the area without physically digging. Using artificial intelligence, they compared modern radar scans with British survey maps nearly a century old. At first, the scans showed only vague distortions beneath the mount. Then, the shapes sharpened. Multiple chambers appeared beneath the surface, chambers with no visible entrances and no evidence of disturbance for thousands of years. Some structures appeared older than the Second Temple itself, possibly even older than Solomon's era. But the deeper researchers looked, the stranger the discovery became. As imaging improved, researchers realized the chambers had been intentionally designed and carefully concealed beneath the eastern side of the Temple Mount platform. The layout showed mathematical precision. That meant this wasn't random construction. Someone planned this carefully, and whoever built these rooms wanted them hidden. Then the scans revealed something even more astonishing. An underground shrine preserved almost perfectly in place. Inside were altars, ritual basins, incense residue, oil traces, and ceremonial tools left exactly where they had last been used. It looked less like a destroyed ruin and more like a sacred site deliberately sealed and abandoned. Which raised an unsettling question. Why preserve something history claimed was destroyed? According to biblical tradition, King Hezekiah eliminated rival shrines throughout Judah during his religious reforms. But this sanctuary had not been destroyed. It had been protected. Researchers had seen hints of hidden worship before. Ancient sites like Tel Arad suggested rival religious traditions once existed in Judah. But no one expected evidence beneath the Temple Mount itself. And at the center of the underground shrine stood a massive upright stone nearly 10 feet tall. A sacred standing stone known as a masaba, one ancient history said should no longer exist. At first, historians believed the shrine itself was the mystery. Then the scans detected something beneath it, a second chamber hidden even deeper underground. The Chamber of the Warden. The structure beneath the shrine was unlike anything researchers expected to find. A perfectly circular chamber carved directly into solid bedrock, 10 feet wide, completely sealed. No entrances, no tunnels, no signs of collapse, which raised an impossible question. If no one could enter the chamber, who sealed it? The walls appeared unusually smooth compared to known construction methods from the period. Some engineers admitted the precision made little sense for 700 BCE stonework. At first, researchers believed they may have discovered a forgotten inner sanctuary beneath the Temple Mount. But one detail immediately changed the mood inside the investigation. Ancient writing carved into the curved wall. The inscription was short and deeply unsettling. Here the warden stands guard. Do not open. The translation silenced the room. Ancient temple inscriptions usually praised kings, honored God, or recorded offerings. This sounded different, more like a warning left for future generations. And that's where the mystery deepened. Inside the chamber, imaging revealed a large stone basin surrounded by primitive oil lamps and ritual objects. Chemical traces identified lead, mercury, incense compounds, mandrake, and henbane, substances historically associated not only with ceremonies, but also with purification and ritual sealing practices. Some scholars suggested the underground structure may not have functioned as a traditional sanctuary at all. Instead, it may have served a symbolic protective purpose tied to beliefs now lost to history. Ancient Jewish, Mesopotamian, and Near Eastern traditions all contain stories about sealed places beneath the earth. The Book of Enoch describes watchers imprisoned underground. Mesopotamian myths mention rebellious beings confined below the world. Other ancient texts describe sacred chambers guarded beneath mountains. There is no direct proof these traditions were connected to the Temple Mount, but the similarities were difficult to ignore. Then the AI scans revealed another detail that alarmed researchers even more. Acoustic modeling showed the chamber trapped resonance unusually well, almost like a sealed vault designed to contain vibration. Whether intentional or symbolic, researchers couldn't say. But by this point, one conclusion was becoming increasingly difficult to avoid. This chamber was built differently from anything else discovered beneath Jerusalem. And hidden beneath the central basin was the object that changed the investigation completely: a sealed metallic capsule. Inside it was an ancient scroll. The secret scroll that changed everything. The capsule itself was extraordinary. A lead cylinder enclosed within hardened resin and stone, carefully engineered to protect whatever was inside from light, air, and moisture. Imaging revealed a tightly rolled papyrus scroll preserved within the casing. The markings on the outside were older than Hebrew or Aramaic. Linguists compared them to ancient Mesopotamian binding texts associated with ritual protection formulas and ceremonial seals. Circular symbols wrapped around the scroll like protective sigils. This did not look like an ordinary manuscript. It looked intentionally sealed. Researchers compared it to protective texts discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls at Qumran, writings ancient communities considered too sacred or dangerous for public use. Then, experts translated the first visible phrases. One line read, "Seal of the Deep Ones." But what they translated next changed the entire investigation. "When the light breaks the seal, the warden's hand shall fall." Until that moment, researchers believed they had uncovered a hidden religious archive beneath the Temple Mount. Now, the scroll appeared to be something else entirely. Not a historical record, but an object connected to ritual sealing and containment traditions. And for some researchers, that realization was more disturbing than the discovery itself. After that, the dense lead casing prevented further imaging. No one could safely read deeper without risking damage to the scroll itself. And because excavation beneath the Temple Mount remained forbidden, the unread portions stayed sealed. Soon afterward, the project was quietly restricted. Access to the scans became limited. Coordinates were reportedly classified. Religious authorities insisted the chamber should remain untouched. Officially, the reasons involved politics, structural safety, and religious sensitivity. Unofficially, scholars began debating a far more disturbing possibility. What if the scroll was never meant to preserve knowledge? What if it was meant to prevent something from being uncovered? Some historians argued the warnings were symbolic, ceremonial language designed to protect sacred artifacts from intruders. Others believed the chamber reflected forgotten religious practices buried during ancient reforms. But no explanation fully answered the central mystery. Why hide the scroll beneath layers of stone, lead, and resin? Why preserve it so carefully for nearly 3,000 years? And why surround it with warnings telling future generations not to open it? Across ancient cultures, sacred places were often linked to stories of guarded knowledge, sealed chambers, and hidden forces beneath the earth. The Temple Mount may simply be another example of that tradition. Or it may represent something historians still do not fully understand. For nearly 3,000 years, invasions, wars, earthquakes, and empires passed over the Temple Mount. But whatever was hidden beneath it remained untouched. Not erased, not forgotten, deliberately sealed. And in the end, that may have been the most disturbing discovery of all. The chambers beneath the Temple Mount were not destroyed by war, not collapsed by time, not forgotten by history. They were carefully sealed, which means someone in the ancient world made a deliberate decision. Whatever was buried beneath Jerusalem, future generations were never supposed to find it. And perhaps the most unsettling possibility is not that something was hidden beneath Jerusalem, but that the people who sealed it believed the warning was real. Today, the scroll remains buried beneath the Temple Mount, unread, undisturbed, and still waiting beneath the stone. What do you think was hidden inside the secret scroll beneath Jerusalem? Comment your theory below. And if you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more ancient mysteries and hidden discoveries.